Okay, so we are going to start off by talking about the element of art called line. This is one of the most basic building blocks for all art projects. It is a series or string of dots that can go off in any direction. It has one dimension, which is length. You can see there's an example of a line here, and there's also an artwork created entirely by a variety of lines, and also dots in the sky, but lines. If you are looking at your lovely packet, which you should have open, you can see right here, here's our cover. The very first slide is going to be lines. So we are going to be drawing lines in these boxes here. If you look right up here on your toolbar, there's literally a tool called line. Select line, and now you can go ahead and draw a line. For this first one, a straight line is just like that first slide. It's just a line that doesn't bend. It's a straight line. If we bounce back over here, you can see then there are two other types of lines, curved lines and zigzag lines. Curved lines are going to be these loop-de-loops, these curls, these wavy spiral ones, and zigzags are going to be these back and forth, changing sharply at a point lines. These, think about those heart monitors, and for these ones, think about rolling waves. Both of those two things are active things, they're expressive things, so these lines are going to be a little bit more dynamic and more interesting to look at than just a plain straight line. In order to draw those, we can do a curve right here for the zigzag line. You click once, there you go, and it lets you curve. You can curve it again the other way, back and forth. Double click to stop, and then you're all done. Ta-da, curve. For a zigzag line, you can do something like this elbow connector here. Is an example of a zigzag line. Are you going to like make it smaller or no? Oop, I don't want to do that. Control Z when you do things you don't want to. We're going to call that good enough. Okay, back over here. We can also, oh, actually no, I lied. Back over here. I want you to answer why. So why is it important? What does your types of lines do? So what did we just say? What was the difference between curved lines and zigzag lines and straight lines? So the why for knowing what the type is going to be about movement and action. Those are the two things. You can put it in a whole nice sentence if you'd like to, but I'm not requiring that right this second. Then we're going to pop back over here. We're going to go over to direction of lines. We have three main directions. You can do vertical, straight up and down, horizontal, side to side, and diagonal is going to be anything that is not vertical or horizontal. So now we can go back over to our notes. Look at that, vertical, horizontal, diagonal. This time we're going to go to just a regular line, vertical, straight up and down, click line again, side to side, and diagonal. There's our three lines. Again, if we come back over to our notes, this whole reading part here, it says these may seem to be inspirational, like tall, majestic trees or church steeples. However, they are static, inactive lines, meaning generally trees and church steeples don't move. Horizontal is like the horizon where the sky meets the land. Again, static, inactive. They're stable. It doesn't, barring earthquake, move. Diagonal, on the other hand, tends to be action-related, thinking energy and motion, such as something holding something else up or something rolling down a hill. These are expressive and active. So when we go back over here, double-click again, and we can say active versus inactive. If you don't remember which one is which, you should write down vertical and horizontal equal inactive, diagonal equals active. I already remember that, so I'm not going to write it down. If we move on to combining lines, We have two different ways of mathematically combining lines together. We have parallel versus perpendicular. Parallel are going to be two lines going in the same direction that never get closer or farther away, just like the L's in the word parallel. And perpendicular are going to be two lines that meet at a right angle, like an uppercase T or an uppercase L. So when I go back over here, again, I click my lines, one line, click my line again, second line, make it parallel. This time I'm going to do perpendicular, so one going up and down, one going side to side. There's my parallel and my perpendicular. Again, why is it important to know this? Why do we think? Anybody? Thoughts? I feel like I'm talking to the ether. These are weird videos to film. The parallel is going to be a sense of repetition. Oop, that's not how you spell it. There's no A there. Repetition. And perpendicular is going to be opposition. So it's this idea that like when you have two opposing forces going in opposite directions, that would be perpendicular. Repetition, it's reinforcing. They're all going the same direction. So it's a way of unifying that together. All right, so now we are going to move on to value, which is the second element we're going to talk about today. Don't freak out. It's the last one we're talking about today. Value is just that variation in hue, which is a fancy word for color, ranging from the very lightest to the very darkest. The very lightest color being white, the very darkest color being black, and all of the grays that go in between there. It also counts for any of the colors, like a hue. It doesn't have to be gray. This happens to be a gray scale. You could have these being various colors of blues, various colors of reds, various colors of orange, whatever you want to do. So if we come back over here, and we flip to the lovely value page, it gives you the boxes for the value grayscale, and it tells you to do a shade to a tint. Now, I'm not sure if it actually said, nope, I'm missing a slide, whatever. I can just tell you. A tint is going to be the very lightest color. Anything added with white is going to be a tint. Anything that has black added to it is a shade. So then you're going to go through and rearrange these into your lovely, that one first, grayscale, going from tints on the bottom to shades on the top. Ta-da! Your grayscale is complete. And those are the notes for today.